Tomorrow morning, your alarm will ring. You will check the time, look at your phone, eat food someone else grew, put on clothes someone else made, and spend the next several hours doing one main job while thousands of other people quietly keep the rest of your life running. Now take all of that away. No alarm, no schedule, no supermarket, no school, no hospital, no police, no paycheck, no one coming to repair your tools, feed your children, settle your arguments, or tell you what needs to happen next. You wake when the sky begins to brighten. Around you, the camp is already coming to life. Someone adds wood to the fire while two people talk about tracks they saw near the water the day before. A child watches an adult fix a broken tool. Nearby, someone prepares to leave camp and search for food. If your ancestors had searched poorly, shared poorly, taught poorly, or trusted the wrong people, their small groups could have failed long before history began. You would not be here. So what did ancient humans actually do all day? The answer is much stranger than hunting until sunset. The obvious answer is survival. Find food, find water, stay warm, avoid danger, and protect children. But picture a small camp trying to solve all of those problems at once. Food can be hard to find. A hunter may walk for hours and return with nothing. Children need help for years. A person who is hurt still has to eat. No one person can do everything. So how does a group organize the day without a boss, a clock, or a written plan? Researchers studying Hadza foragers in Tanzania tried to answer part of that question by following where people actually went. They gave people GPS devices and collected more than 2,000 person days of movement data. When Brian Wood and his colleagues compared the paths, they found no single daily pattern. Some people traveled farther and searched in wide, winding routes. Others moved more directly or stayed closer to camp. One person might take a risky search while another looks for something easier to find. The group was spreading its chances. But what happens when people work just as hard and get very different results? A hunter can leave before sunrise, follow tracks for hours, and still return with nothing. The child waiting back at camp is still hungry. So is the person who was too sick or injured to leave. For 256 days, Kristen Hawkes, James O'Connell, and Nicholas Blurton Jones followed Hadza hunters and kept watching after large animals were brought back. They watched where the meat went and who received it. The meat did not stay inside one household. It spread through the camp. A hunter returns, people gather, and the animal is cut apart. Meat moves from one person to another while children watch and adults notice who receives what. Tomorrow, someone else may fail. The group has to remember who shared, who helped before, and who can be trusted when food becomes scarce again. The camp needs a memory of people. That is where one of the most ordinary human activities starts to matter: talking. A person sitting in the shade may look like they are doing nothing, but a small group cannot survive on food alone. People need to know who they can rely on and where tension is growing. Corinne Apicella and her colleagues studied the social lives of Hadza foragers. They looked at who spent time together, who cooperated, and how relationships extended beyond close family members. People were connected through wider circles of trust. Family mattered, but friends and other people in the camp mattered too. Those relationships took time. People had to remember favors, notice selfish behavior, repair tension, and talk about people who were not present. Talking was part of the work. But even a group that finds food, shares risk, and keeps relationships strong faces another problem: children. A prehistoric child had to learn an enormous amount. Which plants are safe? Where can water still be found during a dry season? How old are these tracks? How should a stone be struck without breaking it? A child also had to learn when to speak, when to stay quiet, and who could be trusted. None of this knowledge appears by itself. So where did the learning happen? In 2022, Sheena Lou Levy and an international team compared how 690 children and teenagers spent their time across 12 hunter-gatherer and mixed subsistence societies. They followed how ordinary days moved between play, childcare, household tasks, and food production. There was no single schedule, but these activities often overlapped, and the balance changed as children grew older. Now return to the camp. An adult repairs a tool while a child watches nearby. The child picks up a smaller object, copies the movement badly, gets distracted, then tries again. Someone digs for food, and a child joins in. Small tasks become games, and games slowly turn into practice. Learning happens because life is visible. But some skills take years to build. Jeremy Coster and a large research team studied roughly 23,000 hunting records from more than 1,800 people across 40 locations. They compared performance at different ages. Skill did not appear all at once. Complex foraging ability grew slowly and changed over a lifetime. Becoming a skilled hunter or forager took years. Part of the adult day was spent creating something archaeology almost never preserves: future adults. Someone had to let children follow, watch, fail, adjust, and try again. And this is where the question becomes more personal. Imagine an older man who cannot walk as far as before, a woman recovering from injury, a young child, or a poor hunter who remembers where water remained during an old drought. If value were measured only by food brought back today, some might look useless. But a human group also survives on what people know, remember, and do for one another. An older person may move slowly but remember more. Helping an injured person can protect years of skill. Time spent teaching a child may return later when that child becomes capable. Useful things are spread across different people: food, knowledge, care, memory, and trust. Stone tools do not show us most of this. A hearth can survive for thousands of years, but the tired person beside it cannot. A blade can remain after the patience needed to teach its making has disappeared. Animal bones survive. The choice to share them does not. The most important parts of the day may be the easiest for archaeology to lose. Then darkness arrives. The hunting stops, the gathering slows, and people return to the fire. But the day is not finished. Polly Wiesner spent years listening to Jew/Hwanzi conversations and comparing daytime talk with what happened around the fire at night. She found a clear change. During the day, people talked more about immediate problems: food, plans, complaints, and social tensions. At night, the conversation moved toward stories, distant places, remembered events, singing, dancing, and people who were not physically present. And now the original question begins to look different. A search for food could teach the landscape. Sharing meat could soften failure. Conversation could carry trust. Play could become practice. Care could keep knowledge alive. Stories could carry experience beyond the people who first lived it. Ancient humans did not have endless free time, and their lives were not easy. Injury could kill, food could run out, and bad weather could ruin plans without warning. The difference was not paradise. It was overlap. Modern life separates many parts of existence. Children learn in one place, adults work somewhere else, and friends are fitted around other duties. In a small foraging camp, many of those things could happen during the same hour. Food, learning, care, trust, and memory could move together. That is why the question, what did ancient humans do all day, is harder than it sounds. It assumes their day was divided like ours. Go back to the camp before sunrise. The fire is coming back to life while someone talks about yesterday's tracks and a child watches a pair of hands repairing a tool. Someone will leave camp and return with nothing. Someone else will bring food back. A piece will be shared. A child will copy an adult. A story will be told after dark. None of those moments stands alone. Together, they keep people fed, children learning, relationships strong, and knowledge moving forward. Tomorrow morning, your alarm will ring again. It will divide your day into named pieces: work time, travel time, exercise time, family time, free time. Your ancestors lived without those labels. For them, survival was not something that happened before life could begin. It was mixed into the life around it, with one ordinary action often solving several problems at once. We look backward and search for a timetable. What existed was a living system.